Hello, everybody. It's Wes, Hank, and Andy, and we are back once again for part three of our ongoing series, The Road to Ahsoka Tano, as we look back on the character of Ahsoka Tano and how she's become this fan favorite character through the Ahsoka Tano Essentials playlist on Disney Plus. I hope you guys have been following along, at least with our show. If you're not interested in going back and watching those. Hopefully, the three bearded guys are enough to keep you entertained.
Some of them are really good episodes.
They are good.
We'll talk about this on the very last Road 2 episode. I have a list, though.
Sure.
Of episodes that didn't make it on there.
Did not make it that should be on the list.
That are, I would put them ahead of maybe half the episodes that are on.
I was looking ahead because we had to do some mental math. I apologize. The way that we started doing these breakdowns, I errantly had taken the total number of episodes on the playlist, and I tried to break it up into an even number that would carry us right through to the premiere of Ahsoka. Since that's happened, we've had a little schedule change. One that's completely out of our control that we're going to talk about. But we realized that some of these arcs, these are multi-part arcs, and it doesn't make sense to break them up over multiple shows. So we're getting back on track tonight. We've collected 3 episodes that should have gone with last week's episode. My apologies for that. That's my fault for not looking ahead. But like you say, there are lots of episodes that do lend quite heavily to the development of this character. These 3 that we're going to talk about tonight arguably are some of the heaviest ones in terms of what drives Ahsoka to become,
I would say,
who she will become.
The major fork in the road, the first major fork in the road.
I tend to agree with that.
And
I do.
As we get towards the end, I'll talk about it too. I think this is actually the final straw for Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah. Yeah. I rewatched the third.
So much more than the Padme stuff. And I know I that's really weird to say, but it does. Like it's much more heartbreaking. I didn't feel that emotion in the movies. Like I understood it intellectually. I got it. That's the story.
If we'd have gotten, and I'm not saying that there's room to do this, but I get what you're saying. If we had gotten a show that was centered like a romantic comedy, say, wrapped around Anakin and Padme, maybe we would feel the same way we feel, but we didn't. We got the Clone Wars, we got Rebels, and that Ahsoka Anakin relationship. We see those 2 characters together exponentially more than we do Padme and Anakin. So it's hard to give the same emotional weight to both of those characters.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. Let me get started here. I'm going to just change things up. By the way, don't forget, we are taking your comments live throughout the show tonight. So from whatever platform you're watching on, please hit us up in the comments. Let us know how things are going. Let us know what you guys think of the show so far.
Well, heads up, everybody. I got a little allergies going on, so I'll try to dip out, but it may occur. I got to itch. That's okay. Now. That's okay. All right, let's do this.
Oh, and you know what else I didn't do? I didn't get us a bad Star Wars joke this week. I forgot to. Maybe we'll do 2 next week.
Yeah, we can double up next week.
2 droids come out of a bar. One says sun or the moon. The other one says, I don't know. I'm not from around here.
Nice. And that was another bad Star Wars jokes. Man, I feel like even though I didn't have one, that was good. Nice recovery, by the way. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Well, listen, in our last episode, we watched as Ahsoka's endless wellspring, that's I kept referring to that, her endless wellspring of compassion and empathy inspired a group of Jedi younglings to remember who they were. Now, with Ahsoka as their source of strength, the group was able to come together under her leadership, and with a little Wookiee help, ultimately defeat their Trandoshan captors and find their way home to Coruscant. But when a terrorist attack on the Jedi Temple forced Ahsoka into an investigative role, we saw a crack in her character through her blind devotion to the ideals of the Jedi Order and her inability to comprehend that even a Jedi could be responsible for the attack. And now that crack is about to be blown wide open when Ahsoka finds herself wrongfully accused of murder, an accusation that ultimately leads to her expulsion from the Jedi Order. Now, before we get going, that little thing I was talking about, that thing that was beyond our control, this is kind of some exciting news. The live action Ahsoka series, we got a new release date and a new trailer.
Date.
Yeah, concrete. Originally we were kind of banking on what, the 31st of August, somewhere I think we were. Confirmed the 23rd of August.
Yep.
Yeah, 23rd of August. And that means that following Sunday, so save the date, that following Sunday, the 27th, we will be back with our next deep dive review series, and it is Ahsoka Tano.
Freaking out. I'm wishing the summer away. That's crazy, but I'm wishing the summer away. I'm like, hurry up.
Yeah,
get all the nice weather over with. Let's do this.
That's right. That's right. There's been a lot of stuff. I know we'll probably talk about this again tomorrow night, but we're here now. We can talk a little bit about that trailer that we got earlier in the week. Lots of questions. I'm going to ask again with that Inquisitor character. Is that a flashback, or did an Inquisitor survive the rebellion era? I don't know.
Or is it a loose end from one of our episodes here?
Well, you never know.
Entirely possible.
Especially with what we're talking about tonight. All right, let's move on to what we're here for tonight. And that is the 3 episodes that make up the conclusion of this arc. Now, they're interesting for a number of reasons. Now, one, not only do they mark the conclusion of Ahsoka's training as a Jedi, but also the end of the 5th season. And season 5, if you guys recall, was the last full-length season before the license expired with the Cartoon Network, and the show was canceled. It wouldn't come back again until the following year for a 6th and condensed season on Netflix. Excuse me. Although it was intended to be a full 22 episode season, only 13 episodes were completed, and the whole thing was referred to as the Lost Missions. Did Ahsoka turn up in any of these? I don't think she did.
I don't think so.
I don't remember her being in any of these.
There's the Yoda arc.
There's the weird one with Mace Windu and Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Where they go on a diplomatic mission to some weird planet with the bird people.
That's right.
Yeah.
Jar Jar's got a love interest.
One of the other things. Sorry. Go ahead, Hank.
Well, I have a note about that at the top of my notes too. And the thing is that it was almost 2 years, like nearly 2 years.
Yeah.
It's like a year and 8 months until Rebels premiered, because that happened first before the
That's correct. Yeah, Rebels was on when the show got a revival.
Like the end of episode 20 is the last canon Star Wars event. Like at some point we knew there was going to be stuff moving forward. Okay, Disney's acquired this.
Yeah.
For the like, not even a cliffhanger, just like what comes next. And we could probably remember feeling like that after Return of the Jedi when we were kids. Like, that's the last. It's over now. We didn't know there was novels down the pipe, et cetera, et cetera.
That's right.
So it has some weight in terms of when you were experiencing it live.
I have to admit, going back and re-experiencing them now, where I could binge all the 3 episodes together, it hits way harder because I'm watching it uninterrupted. And I think that was sort of was it season 3 where they finally sort of got their stride together, and they're like, we're going to do these mini movies in these 3 and 4 episode arcs where they felt they were telling larger, longer, cohesive stories.
Right.
By the time you get to the end of this one, not only is it the end of this arc, but it is the season finale, and indeed the first series finale. It's a punch. It's a gut punch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's an awful gut punch.
Because you don't see it coming. Like,
No,
you're thinking, oh, okay, everything's resolved, we're all happy, and then no.
Yeah, it's crazy. What else can we talk about? Oh, right. So these 3 episodes, now it's these are all season 5. So it's season 5, 18, 19, and 20. Each of these episodes, The Jedi Who Knew Too Much, To Catch a Jedi, and The Wrong Jedi, they are all named after Alfred Hitchcock films. The Man Who Knew Too Much from 1934, 1955's To Catch a Thief, and 1956's The Wrong Man. That's kind of a cool little, nice little nod.
Well, that's not the ending of the nods, though.
No, there's more.
There's lots within the episodes to other,
I found myself getting a real Star Trekky undiscovered country vibe when Ahsoka's on trial and she's standing on the platform and they're all circled around her looking down.
Then there's also the Harrison Ford one.
The Fugitive.
That's the one.
Yeah, the whole arc. Yeah, The Fugitive definitely
Factors
is
in.
it's a huge one throughout this one. These are, as we've talked about this before, chronologically speaking, these are episodes 106, 107, and 108. And although they are 3 separate episodes, for the purpose of our show, we're going to kind of treat them like it's one long episode. I'm going to run us through the first 2, and then we'll take a quick reorg, and then I'm going to hand the reins over to Hank, who's going to take us through the last one.
Nice.
Episode 20.
Or give me the tearjerker.
Hey, you asked for it.
I did, actually. I did. I love this character, man. And the more we do this, the more I really enjoy the character a lot. Yeah. Fast becoming my favorite.
I was going to say, the more we do this, the more I love doing it. It's like the 3 of us.
Yeah.
All right. So, in the wake of the temple bombing, the Jedi Order attempts to return to normal, but not before Master Yoda presides over a funeral for the fallen Jedi. The Jedi High Council, along with prominent members of the Republic Senate, attend. We learn that Jedi Padawan Barriss Offee was close friends with one of the fallen. Now, after the funeral, Ahsoka learns from Admiral Tarkin that Leda Tormund, the woman responsible for the attack on the Jedi Temple, has been remanded to Republic military custody. Ahsoka can't understand why, calling the attack a Jedi matter. But Admiral Tarkin says that because clones were killed in the attack, it makes it a military matter, adding that an attack on the Jedi is an attack on the Senate. Anakin supports the decision, telling Ahsoka that it's not right for the Jedi to be both the judge and jury over a Republic citizen. Angrily, Ahsoka says that Leda is guilty and she should be dealt with. But Anakin cautions her, reminding her that revenge is not the Jedi way. Funny how things repeat themselves.
And again, too, without even noticing it, Tarkin is using the clones as an asset, a bargaining chip.
Oh, yeah.
We don't care that you're out there fighting with them, but we can use them to subvert your authority here.
Oh, easily.
And we're going to do that.
But that's not really about Ahsoka, but I actually like that you brought that up, because that speaks to the machinations of the Emperor pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And this is one of those ones where I've questioned this before. How inside was Tarkin? You know what I mean? Like, how close? We know that by the time we get to A New Hope,
I think he's already there.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
He's so close.
He says a couple things that are just come off like, really, something else.
Yeah.
Think of, like, I always think this, like, there's branches of the Empire.
Yep.
I mean, not just military branches, but and that Palpatine's main 2 trunks, and there's probably more than that, because we get hands and assassins and things of that nature as we get deeper into the lore. But you have the military trunk, which is Tarkin, and you have the Sith trunk, which is Vader, and everything kind of, the Inquisitors tinker off Vader, but they both have, it's like he still has Anakin's rank within the military. It's still a general.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it's like nothing really changed except his mannerism. I find the stones on Barriss Offee here incredible.
Yeah. What's interesting in this sequence is how, you see a little bit again. We talked about that sort of the mirroring of Anakin and Ahsoka, how Anakin has now sort of stepped into the Obi-Wan role, and Ahsoka very much is the mirror image of Anakin Skywalker. She has learned from him, and in doing so, it's like when you have your own children, it's learned behavior. So along with all the good comes all the bad, and seeing her lash out, and she should be dealt with. And there's a very clear edge to her voice. She's angry.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, what are you contemplating here, woman? Like,
it's the same moment.
Oh, go ahead.
It's the same moment Anakin was in Attack of the Clones when he goes off to slaughter all the Tusken Raiders. Except he goes through with it.
Well, he absolutely does.
I saw a recent interview with Dave Filoni that was talking about how Ahsoka, because of the Council's trepidations about Anakin and Obi-Wan's close proximity to him, even after he was granted the rank of knight, they still have a master sort of Padawan relationship.
Right.
And so he talks about that having benefited from Qui-Gon's teachings, and Ahsoka benefiting not only from Anakin, but Obi-Wan, and therefore Qui-Gon's teaching, that she's a really well-rounded Jedi.
That's an interesting thought.
Because she spends a lot of time training, Plo Koon, Tara Sinube. She's a very well-rounded Jedi, according to Dave Filoni.
Seeing Tara Sinube again today, I had forgotten that he has a white lightsaber. It's like, oh, okay.
He's achieved spiritual enlightenment.
It's a nice little nod. Like, oh, where did you get that one? Did you do that yourself? Interesting. I'd like to know that story.
Yeah.
All right. Well, going back to Barriss Offee, Barriss, looking quite forlorn, tells Ahsoka that the evidence is clear and that nothing will ever change. And what's interesting is the metaphor that she's speaking with here, because she's not talking about the attack on the temple. She's talking about the Jedi Order itself.
The Jedi Order and the power structure within the
will
Senate
not change. Yeah. It's interesting.
So in a little way, she's already given her a nudge
in
the direction
she
might go.
For us as the viewer, it's the first twinge to something's going on.
Yeah.
Tarkin makes a point here to tell Anakin, Ahsoka, and Barriss that the Supreme Chancellor wants to remove the Jedi from as many military matters as possible, except for all that fighting business.
Yeah, get back out there and fight war.
Citing that the Jedi themselves want to be peacekeepers and not soldiers. That's what Tarkin says.
And he throws it in their face, though.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
he does a lot of that these 3 episodes. He's smarmy as hell.
Yeah. Well, as the group splits up, Ahsoka and Barriss walk through the temple together. Ahsoka confides in her friend that it's hard for her not to let her feelings turn into attachment and pain. Barriss asks her if she's ever wondered if it was right to ignore her emotions. And Ahsoka tells her that Anakin has taught her that their struggle as Jedi is to move past them. The two Padawans banter back and forth about how it's not an easy thing to do, but it is possible. Ahsoka reminds Barriss that when they were stuck inside a Trade Federation tank together, it was hard not to be afraid, but they did get through it, and she supposes they'll get through this too. As I was saying about rewatching these episodes, and I did kind of allude to this last week, like these two characters, as they walk here, like they're almost two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
And then by the time we get to the end of it, it's almost like they're the same side of the same coin without all the murdery.
Mm-hmm.
When Anakin summons Ahsoka to the war room. Oh, sorry, did I jump ahead? No, I did not. When Anakin summons Ahsoka to the war room, she pauses to tell Barriss that she has to believe that one way or another, Letta is going to pay for what she did. In the same tone that she said, she needs to be dealt with. Ahsoka treading dangerously close to the edge, confiding in Barriss about her feelings towards Letta, which gives Barriss just the thing she needs to pull off a plausible setup. Dun dun dun.
Spoiler alert.
Well, I hope that everybody who's following has seen these by at least once by now.
Yeah.
Later, during a briefing in the war room, Admiral Tarkin tells Ahsoka that Letta has requested to speak to Ahsoka regarding the bombing. He doesn't know why, save that Ahsoka is the only person that Letta says she'll talk to. Well, Ahsoka travels to the Republic military headquarters where she's being held. This is the first time we get a look at HQ like this. This is the look that informs the rest of the series, and indeed all the stuff we saw in season 2 of The Bad Batch, including the memorial wall,
which is huge.
Yes. At the detention barracks, Ahsoka is met by Commander Fox. Now, he scans her before instructing Ahsoka to leave her comlink and her lightsabers at the guard station. Before taking her to Letta's cell. Once inside the cell, Ahsoka derisively asks her what is it that she wants, and Letta says that she was told if she ever needed help that Ahsoka was the Jedi to talk to. Who told her that? Who told her that? Ahsoka asks Commander Fox. Oh, wait. Now, listen, I want to stick on that for a second. Did Barriss tell her that?
I don't know.
Because if Barra tells her that, then that means Letta was in on it too. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe.
Interesting. I guess it's
I think it goes further than just Barriss, though.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a theory on that?
I need a couple theories because of what's coming up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, jump in. Just jump in when
I'll
you're
get
ready.
into my theory. I have notes
fair
about
enough.
my theory.
Ah, nice.
Not extensive, but yeah, it's in
enough to put it out there anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ahsoka asks Commander Fox to give them a minute, and then he and the guards leave the two women alone in Letta's cell. Ahsoka tells Letta she doesn't have much time, and she asks what she wants. Ahsoka is not happy to be here. She just wants nothing to do with this woman. She's already
written her off.
Yeah, you are guilty, and you need to be dealt with.
Yeah.
She tells Ahsoka that the bombing of the temple was not her idea, and that her life is in danger. And she says the person behind everything will be able to get to her unless Ahsoka knows the truth, that a Jedi gave her the knowledge of how to make the bomb. Now, skeptical of the woman's story, Ahsoka asks, why would a Jedi do that? And Letta tells her because some people believe the same way that she does, that the Jedi have become, quote, warmongers and military weapons that are killing people when they should be keeping the peace. Pointing at Ahsoka, Letta goes on to say that one of the Jedi agreed with her and wanted to make a statement and was willing to attack the Order to do so. Ahsoka asks for a name, and Letta says that she'll tell her if Ahsoka agrees to protect her. Putting her hand on Letta's shoulder, Ahsoka pleads with her to tell her who it is. But just as Letta is about to reveal the name of the Jedi responsible, Letta is gripped in a force choke and lifted into the air. As medical sensors go off in the guard station, Commander Fox and the other clones see what looks like Ahsoka Tano killing the prisoner. They arm themselves and they rush to Letta's cell.
Why did she put her hands up like that?
No.
Quick, hands behind your back.
Why is everything done with their hands? I don't get it.
Well, maybe if she's ready to catch her,
Yeah, seriously, like, I don't know what's happening. What do I do? In the cell, Letta's lifeless body crumples to the floor, and despite trying, there's nothing Ahsoka can do. When the clones arrive, Fox stands over the two women and he says, "Can't say I blame you, Commander Tano," before he places her under arrest. Interesting. Fox, she's convicted in his eyes too.
Yeah.
Oh, he's my least
favorite
clone. Fox, you bastard. So maybe we can get into this now. I do have a note about it later, but so the person that eventually, because I guess it's not spoilers. We've been talking openly about it. Barriss Ophi's not powerful enough to do that.
No,
that's
not
Dooku
from a
or
distance.
better.
Yeah,
I think so.
Dooku or better.
Or better.
Even
directly. Do you think so?
If he can do that,
I guess.
See, somebody's also, here's another, it gets deeper because somebody's been feeding her that, like, or engendering her feelings like that.
Yeah.
Right. This at the end of the day, she's betraying a friend and she's killed a few Jedi and she's blaming it on political views because she wants to make a statement. But what this is a Sith plot to remove the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker.
Yep.
That's an interesting thought.
I wholly think it is Palpatine. Because how many times have we heard him say behind that. To Anakin, trust your feelings?
I can totally be behind
in her ear.
Yeah,
sure.
And then the question is like when she's spouting separatist stuff. But there's a few things like in my episode, she's wielding Ventress's lightsabers, and she says, "I think they suit me." Like
that's true.
She's clearly turning to the dark side.
Beyond
just political stuff, she's clearly turning to the dark side. The other thing, we know that the dark side and the light side are so out of whack that the dark side is so much more powerful that she's able to go toe to toe with Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So. It's interesting because when you say somebody who's more powerful than her, we've seen displays of the Force, particularly this power done across video monitoring when Vader does it, right?
That will come up here in a second because when Tarkin comes in, well, we'll get to it here in a second, but yeah, I got a thought on that too.
Where are we at here? We're on, okay, we're going to the next one here. All right. Now in custody herself, Ahsoka sits in her own cell. When Admiral Tarkin enters carrying Letta's hat, she tells him that she doesn't know what happened. She only went to talk to her. Tarkin tosses the hat on the floor and tells Ahsoka she doesn't need to say anymore because all the cells have video recorders and the images speak for themselves. Showing Ahsoka a hologram of what happened in Letta's cell, he says it's curious that the audio wasn't working in her cell. And he says the Jedi that Letta was afraid of was you. Tarkin points out that she was the only one in the cell at the time, and that he knows Ahsoka was angry at Letta when Letta was taken into military custody. Ahsoka pleads her innocence, calling the killer someone that she didn't see. But the Admiral finds it difficult to believe her because the detention block is a secure facility. He then questions Ahsoka's Jedi senses, asking why she didn't sense the killer. Later on, Anakin tries to force his way into the detention center. Commander Fox won't be intimidated and tells him that under Admiral Tarkin's orders, the murder of Letta is a military operation strictly under his jurisdiction.
Fox comes so close.
So 2 things here.
Yeah, you want to go?
2 things here.
Yeah.
He says the audio was turned off. So
it wasn't working.
Who turned it off? Somebody with access turned the sound off for that video.
Well, I mean, Tarkin's already been in the facility, and so I mean, he's
completely able to do that.
We know that he's one step away from the Emperor,
and if he's standing right beside the Emperor watching,
double down on that. Because although the audio has been removed from the video, he basically quotes her by saying, "You're the Jedi she's afraid of."
Yeah.
She just said, "I'm afraid of this Jedi X."
Yeah.
I'm about to tell you. So there you go again.
I love the way that they do this. You think it's a big plot hole, but it's not. It's a very well constructed orchestration.
Yeah.
And the maestro is keeping good time.
Yeah, because you suppose if he's sitting there watching this interaction, Palpatine watching this interaction, okay, now's my chance, dude. Force choke.
Yeah, seriously.
Tarkin, hit the noise.
Yeah. You go in, turn off the audio recorder. I'll just choke her out through the camera.
Yeah. And then we're done.
Completely plausible, by the way.
Yep.
I buy that. Okay, well, later on, after waking up, Ahsoka notices that a key card has been placed on the floor in the hallway just outside of her cell. How convenient.
Again, is Barriss that technologically sound?
No.
And who would have access to those type of key cards? Tarkin.
That's true.
She assumed Anakin did it.
She did.
She does. Yeah.
And you know what? That's also very plausible. I mean, of course. And she even says like, "Oh, I knew you wouldn't let me down."
Yeah.
Or something to that effect. What I do find weird is that when we go to Letta's cell, it's like Leia. It's physical door.
Yeah.
We go to Ahsoka's ray shield.
Yep.
Come on.
It's a higher threat level, man.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could force the door open.
Oh, true. That's true. That's true.
Door,
okay.
Right?
That makes sense. Well, presuming that the key was left by Anakin, She uses the Force to actually swipe the card, deactivating the ray shielding on the door. On her way out of the detention center, Ahsoka comes across a group of incapacitated clones just outside the guard station. Now, her lightsabers and her comlink lay at the opposite end of the hallway. There's the next step in the implication.
Yeah.
Snapping her comlink back onto her vambrace, Ahsoka answers a call from a mystery person and she asks them, "Why are you helping me?" Just then, Commander Fox walks into the station, and seeing an armed Ahsoka standing among the downed clones, he activates an alarm and he declares a prison break. Let's take a second here to check in on the chat. We've got Adam from Go Figure. Hey, gents. Welcome back. I assume, Adam, you're back from Georgia, from Joe Fest. Hope you had a wonderful weekend down there. Pictures look great, by the way. If you haven't checked those out, you should head over to Go Figure on Facebook and have a look at Adam's shots from Joe Fest over the weekend. Looked like a good time.
Another thing here.
Yeah.
Tarkin goes out of his way to say this is a secure facility.
That's right.
And we've seen that like hallways do have cameras in them.
Yeah, all the time.
Where are the cameras when these clones are getting taken out?
When they're getting nuked?
Yeah.
Conveniently.
Do we like...
I couldn't decide if they were
lightsaber slashes on their armor. I have to watch it a lot.
There's a at the end when they bring her in, they mention that it's five dead clones. Dead. Now in this sequence, there's what, three in the hallway
at least.
I don't know where they're getting the numbers from. If they just, some of them lived and some of them didn't.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But if some of them lived, they would know who knocked them out.
Yeah, I don't know. Adam says that Joe Fest was amazing. Just could have used more random fandom.
Oh,
we had a great episode last week. I had a great time. I thought it was good. Have another interesting episode lined up for tomorrow. We got a couple of interesting stories that we're going to cover tomorrow night. Yeah, hopefully you guys will show up.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we at here now?
Got her lightsaber.
Oh yeah, she's got her lightsabers back. So now on the run, Ahsoka leaps and vaults her way through sliding blast doors, evading the clones as she makes her way towards the exit. Meanwhile, Captain Rex and Anakin Skywalker race towards the Republic military headquarters in an open-air speeder. With Commander Fox just a few steps of her, Ahsoka has no time to stop. But when she comes across a trio of dead clones with obvious lightsaber wounds, Ahsoka gasps, "Oh no," as she looks at the evidence supporting that she is, in fact, the murderer. But then Fox is right there blasting away, and she continues her flight. Oh, and by the way, these are not stun blasts either. He's full lethal. Yeah. Light her up. Kneeling down to examine one of the dead clones, Fox radios in that Ahsoka has just killed 3 clones, and he declares something called a code red, which tells the clones if they spot Ahsoka, they are to shoot to kill. But just then, Anakin and Captain Rex arrive, and Anakin tells Fox, belay that order. Excuse me. Hushing the 2 clones, like, shh. Anakin calls out to Ahsoka, and his voice echoes through the empty hallways. Stop running. Ahsoka pauses to listen, and she calls back, I'm being set up, Master. Anakin tells his apprentice he believes her. Looking back over her shoulder, Ahsoka calls back, but no one else will, and she runs off. Anakin instructs Rex to call security and keep searching for her. Rex struggles as he relays the order to the entire base, saying that Ahsoka Tano has escaped and killed 3 clones, and she should be considered armed and dangerous. It's really hard for him to say that, and he's not like completely choky, but he does kind of,
he hesitates,
almost like he's got to swallow the frog in his throat to get the words out.
Yeah,
I'd say Anakin. Anakin had nothing to do with the key card and.
With the base on high alert and everyone actively searching for Ahsoka, it's relatively easy for her to hang back and let all the formations of soldiers open all the doors that she needs to escape while stealthily trailing just behind them. But once outside the headquarters building, Ahsoka is spotted by Commander Fox, and the clones try to shoot at her, blowing up an airspeeder in the process so she can't use it to escape. Anakin orders Fox to switch their weapons to stun, saying that he wants her alive before he too joins the chase. Now, unable to commandeer a vehicle, Ahsoka runs down the central viaduct, staying just ahead of the pursuing clones. The number of times over the years we come back to this location
It's crazy.
But then a clone gunship pulls up alongside her, and after she deflects several stun blasts, one of the clones uses a rocket launcher to blow up the platform in front of her. Ahsoka falls, but manages to grab onto the platform. Unfortunately, she also drops both of her lightsabers. Using the Force, she's able to recover one of them and vaults back onto the platform and begins to run again, but she's quickly boxed in by 2 gunships and a squad of clones. Just then, when it seems like the chase is over, Ahsoka Force leaps onto one of the large pipes, and she uses her lightsaber to cut a hole, and she drops into the pipe, and once again, the chase is back on. Now, the pipe system, it's like a maze with several junctions, and the clones spread out to cover more of the pipes. Sensing his apprentice, Anakin follows Ahsoka while the clones run off in the wrong direction.
There was one thing I did find kind of funny about this whole sequence.
Yeah.
And like, I guess she's got her sabers out to defend herself.
Okay.
But would she not be more stealthy with them not lit?
Yeah, I guess
like she's running with 2 swinging glow sticks.
Well, no, that's true. That's true. But again, so let's contrast that with the episode of The Mandalorian when she's outside the compound of Morgan Elsbeth's compound,
and she's like here. Then
that's
gone.
Exactly what she does. She lights them up to subdue the guards, and then turns them off.
Yeah.
So maybe that's lesson learned.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Unable to commandeer a vehicle. Sorry, I just read that one, didn't I? Oh, yeah, they run off in the wrong direction. Here we go. Suddenly, Ahsoka comes to the end of the line when the pipe stops at a huge opening into the Coruscant underlevels. Anakin runs up behind her, and he implores her to stop running. Ahsoka argues that he never even tried to help her, and Anakin tries to explain that he wasn't allowed to even talk to her. But Ahsoka insists that he could have tried. Anakin says that with his relationship to her, doing so only would have made her look even more guilty. But Ahsoka shouts, "But I'm not guilty." And Anakin says, "Then we have to prove you're innocent. And the only way to do that is by going back."
Finding Richard Kimball.
That's right. Ahsoka rightfully tells him that she doesn't know who to trust. And Anakin says he would never let anyone hurt her, but she needs to come back and make her case to the council. But Ahsoka, now steadfast in her belief, says that she won't go back and she won't take the fall for something she didn't do. Taking a firmer approach, now Anakin orders his apprentice to put down her lightsaber and come with him, to trust him. Probably not the right tone to evoke that. No, it's okay. Put your freaking weapon down.
It's like he doesn't want to fight her, so
no,
like a parent.
And that's the tone that he uses. Yeah. Ahsoka says she does trust him, but he knows as well as she does that no one other than Anakin will believe her. Outside the pipe, a ship slowly descends into the underlevels. Ahsoka looks at the ship before looking back to her master and says, "Anakin, you have to trust me now." And when he says, "I do trust you," Ahsoka holds out her hand and answers, "I know you do. Wish me luck," and then leaps into the void, landing on the ship's hull several meters below, while Anakin, Rex, and Fox watch her go. Yeah, and there we go. I think that's the turning point where that blind faith in the Order, it's gone.
Shattered.
It's not there. It's interesting because her faith in the Jedi as an organization has been shattered, and now she's at this point where she's now using her own judgment to make decisions rather than just sort of the dogmatic approach that maybe she's kind of always adhered to. I can't really say dogmatic because Anakin is anything but, right? But she still had that sort of like the glass is half full sort of attitude. No, that they can't do any wrong.
Yeah.
The Order is good.
I think she's still in a place though where she's holding out hope, like that as soon as she solves this mystery,
Yeah.
things will go back to normal.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
really feel like that's like she's still. It's not until the finale where she's
It's
like
gone.
where she's because she's told point blank by them, and
That's
then
true.
right. So I think she's right now. She knows she's in over her head. She knows she's in a crazy amount of trouble, and there's a way out. And I don't know if she feels like she's in trouble with the Jedi or with the military. She's probably very confused at this point. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I try to put yourself in that situation where, if you've had an older sibling or maybe a younger sibling and they've done something and, try to pin it on you and your parents believe them and you're trying to like, but I did, but.
But there's a moment here where she's running through the halls and finds those 3 dead clones.
Yes.
With saber marks.
Yeah, very clear lightsaber.
And
wounds,
that moment, I think, holy crap! Like
Jedi
did do this.
That's a moment.
Yeah, that means like what they were saying. Yes, it was a Jedi. What she got called for to the cell.
It
was a Jedi
sitting right there. Well, I guess actually that's a different location, isn't it? She's already got possession.
Yeah, it is. She's got them back. Yeah, she has them back now.
Yeah, like the key card and the saber she thought was Anakin, but once she hits that, down or the dead clones, it's like, oh, this isn't Anakin.
Yeah,
something
you're
is
right.
Really, really wrong.
Yeah, you're right. Well, we open. Sorry. Oh my gosh, what did I do here? I just went all the way. I skipped way ahead.
No, you didn't.
Where did I go here? Says who could have tried gun to guilty. Trust him, believe her. Okay, right. Oh wow, that's
that's the end of
that is the end of that episode. I'm just going. So I'm like, we're treating this as one long episode. Forgot all about that. Okay, that is the end of the episode when she bails out the pipe.
Jedi who knew too much.
That's right. So now moving into to catch a Jedi. We pick up pretty much where we left off with a hologram of Admiral Tarkin we're in the Jedi High Council chamber where Tarkin is leveling his accusations that Ahsoka is guilty of the murder. Oh, here's the number. 5 clones, murdering 5 clones along with Letta Tormund. He says that the holographic evidence is sound, and oddly enough, some of the Jedi Council agree with that assessment.
He doesn't present the holographic evidence. All he has is her going like that. Where's the clones getting slaughtered?
That's true. We don't get that. Master Yoda orders 2 teams from the temple to go into the sublevels and to search for Ahsoka. He orders Anakin Skywalker and Master Plo Koon. Mace Windu thinks it's unwise to send Anakin, calling him too attached to his Padawan and unable to do what must be done. Did Mace Windu just suggest that Anakin would not kill his own apprentice?
Yeah. And Mace is being a real dink here.
Yeah. Now, is that a reflection of his walking sort of the edge?
I think so.
Which Mace canonically does. He's sort of on the edge where the Shatterpoint thing that he does.
Well, it sets the precedent for what's going to come later. When, Anakin, get out of here. You can't be here when I arrest the Emperor.
It's if he's embracing any of the sort of dark side traits, I think it's arrogance. I have a note in the 3rd episode about how he's like defending being wrong.
Yeah.
So many times, like justifying it.
Well, Obi-Wan disagrees with Mace, and he says that Anakin knows Ahsoka better than anyone. And with a caution that Anakin must stay focused, Yoda sends the 2 Jedi to bring her back. Interestingly enough, talking about arrogance, we get a little bit of that from Yoda in the tone of his voice when he refers to Ahsoka, bring back the lost child. Calls her a lost child. I suppose factually it's not incorrect, but the way he says it, it's almost like he's past judgment, like she's in the wrong. What she's doing is wrong.
Yeah. But at the same time, he just asked Anakin to prove his...
oh, yeah, you've got to stay focused.
How are you going to stay focused? He's like, well, I've already called the security down there.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, well, I guess you're on top of it.
There is a sort of questioning of his, do I say loyalty on this?
Yeah. And Obi-Wan is on his side without pushing too hard
Yeah. He's like, who better to go look for her?
than the guy that knows her best.
Yeah. Exactly. Several hundred levels down, local security forces circulate the image of Ahsoka, unaware that she's just across the street. Walking down an alley, Ahsoka radios Barriss Offee, who's relieved to know that her friend is alive. Ahsoka tells her that she's being framed, and Barriss says that it's not safe for her to call on the Jedi channel. She says that Ahsoka should find another way to contact her, and in the meantime, she'll see what she can find out on her end. Ahsoka, spotting a homeless Gotal sitting on the street, she trades the man some food for his cloak. With her new disguise, Ahsoka boards a train, but so do some of the local security forces, who begin to sweep the train, asking all the passengers for their tickets. Tickets, please. Tickets. Ahsoka moves to the door of the car, hoping to get off at the next stop before the guards can get to her. But when the train stops and the doors slide open, there's another group of guards standing right in front of her. And of course, they recognize her immediately. With a quick force
Did
push.
they, though?
Oh, they did.
Because, like, she kind of jumps back, like, oh, crap, guards.
Yeah, I got the impression that they were on to her. Like, and again, even if they weren't.
Yeah.
Sorry, with a quick force push, Ahsoka knocks one of the new guards back onto the platform, and then she runs forward towards the next car. Meanwhile, the guard on the platform radios in that they've found the rogue Jedi. As the guards chase Ahsoka through the train, she leaps and vaults her way over and around other passengers. Kind of got the little Shang-Chi vibe on this one. She's going around like in the bus. Over and around the passengers until one of the brave passenger, by the way, tries to grab a hold of her. But Ahsoka twists her way out of the passenger's grip and shoves him at the guards before using the force to open the car doors, and then leaps off the speeding train onto a nearby platform. Wow, that's impressive. Dusting herself off, Ahsoka starts to walk away from the platform, and yet another group of guards standing nearby spot her and then chase her out of the train station to a nearby bank of elevators. Dashing into one of the elevators, Ahsoka closes the door, but the guards draw their weapons and they shoot at the elevator, accidentally hitting the controls, which causes the lift to plummet at an incredible rate of speed. Just when you think things couldn't get worse. Unbeknownst to Ahsoka, there's also a young Twi'lek boy on the lift who shouts at her in language that she doesn't understand. Thinking the boy is scared, Ahsoka leaps into action, thinking that she can cut a hole with her lightsaber in the roof of the lift. But as she begins to cut the hole, the boy repeats himself. He kind of screams the same thing, and he just walks over to the control panel and hits the brake button. Which engages the brakes, bringing the lift to a quick halt, which knocks Ahsoka to the floor. With a quick change to the plan, Ahsoka now cuts a hole in the lift glass, and then she and the boy leap down to the ground, where Ahsoka thanks the boy before handing him over to his mother.
Why was the kid so far up on
I don't know. I kind of wondered that too. I'm like, oh,
Like,
you've
he just
reunited
played
them.
in the elevators? Or?
Yeah. Okay, you go to the top. You come right back here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's like the, public transportation, kids going to school and stuff.
He's coming home from school, sure.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought, maybe. All right. Back on the street, Ahsoka raises the hood on her cloak and she walks away, unaware that a masked figure is watching her from above. It's a cool looking mask, by the way. I quite like that.
It's
design.
a real cool looking mask.
Back on the surface, two Republic police gunships speed down the viaduct, heading towards the opening into the lower levels of Coruscant. On board the lead ship is Master Plo Koon, Commander Wolf, and a squad of clones from the Coruscant Guard, while Anakin, Captain Rex, and more Coruscant Guard occupy the second. Rex tells Anakin that the lower level police have spotted Ahsoka headed for level 1312 before both ships descend into the lower levels. Cool thing about this, and this is just an aside, is that this whole that opening into the bowels is a nod to the now defunct video game Star Wars 1313 that never got finished. We got this great gameplay trailer for it, and then nothing. They just kind of dropped it. So nice nod, 1312. As Ahsoka makes her way through a back alley, the masked figure, having kept up with her, leaps off a building, igniting a pair of crimson lightsabers and knocks Ahsoka to the ground. With both sabers crossed over Ahsoka's neck, the figure lifts their mask, revealing that it's Asajj Ventress. Ahsoka accuses Ventress of being the one to set her up, to frame her. Ventress says she has no idea what she's talking about. Ahsoka asks if she's a bounty hunter now. Ventress says that she is, and she's one that knows how to make easy money. That's pretty bold, calling Ahsoka easy money. As Ventress leads Ahsoka away, the young Jedi asks what she's going to do. She can't exactly hand her over to the Republic, seeing as how Ventress is a war criminal and Sith apprentice. But Asajj has it all figured out, saying that she can just hand Ahsoka over to a bondsman and still get paid whether Ahsoka is alive or dead. Ahsoka tells Ventress that despite what she might have heard, she's still a Jedi. But Ventress tells Ahsoka that the other Jedi don't see it that way. Agreeing with her, Ahsoka says, "That's why I'm going to need your help." Ahsoka tells the bounty hunter about another Jedi framing her for the bombing of the Jedi Temple and the other murders. Ventress remarks that the Jedi aren't so holy after all. Ahsoka tells Ventress that she knows that Count Dooku tried to have her killed and asks what if it's his new apprentice. Ahsoka says that she's fallen from her path just as much as Ventress has from hers, and the two of them have more in common than Ventress might think, which is interesting because Ventress echoes that sentiment later. Yeah.
And it pisses Anakin off to no end.
Big time, yeah. Ventress asks Ahsoka what can she offer her that's better than money. And Ahsoka says that if Ventress agrees to help her, she'll speak to both the Jedi Council and the Senate on her behalf. This is an interesting one, too. Ahsoka goes so far as to say that she will get, not try, Ahsoka will get Ventress a full pardon for her crimes. I don't think you have that much sway.
Not at this moment.
Even if she was, even if she did, I don't think that they would go for it.
No, probably not.
Asajj doesn't outright agree with her. Rather, she waves Ahsoka's lightsaber hilt in front of her and says that she'll go where the tide flows. And if the tide flows against Ahsoka, she will turn her in for the bounty. And Ahsoka says, well, that's fair. Well, just then, the pair of police gunships floats in overhead, shining searchlights down on the women, and they run from the landing platform, pausing only to activate a ray shield that separates it from the rest of the level. But it also cuts off Anakin from chasing them. Seeing Ventress and Ahsoka together, Anakin furrows his brow before he angrily orders the clones to deploy several probe droids. Later on, Ahsoka and Ventress go to a holo terminal, and Ahsoka hacks the terminal so she can make an untraceable call to Barriss Offee. As Ahsoka tells Barriss how she was nearly captured, a pensive Ventress looks away, but keeps one ear on the conversation. Barriss tells Ahsoka that she thinks she's found a clue. There's an abandoned warehouse where munitions used to be made. And Barriss says that Letta visited the factory during the time she was getting access to the nanodroids. Fortunately, one of the probe droids has Ahsoka at the holo booth, and it relays her position back to Commander Wolf, who alerts the other clones to her whereabouts. Finishing the holo call, Ahsoka tells Ventress that she thinks she has a lead. Ventress says it doesn't look like Ahsoka needs her help at all. Ahsoka tells Ventress about the warehouse, and Ventress says that she knows the place and says she can get Ahsoka to it. But then Wolf and like a dozen other clones rush in with their weapons raised. Ahsoka says they won't hurt any of the clones, but they are not taking her in. Ventress, on the other hand, doesn't exactly share that outlook, and instead she ignites her lightsabers and begins swinging wildly at the clones. But she's not swinging to kill.
No.
Instead, she cuts the barrels off the clone rifles before attacking them hand to hand and knocking them out. Meanwhile, Ahsoka has her hands full while she boxes and kicks at the clones, also knocking them out. It's a fierce fight, and despite the clones' superior numbers, the women incapacitate them in short order. Well done, ladies.
Yep. I love the line, though. I don't want to fight you. And Ventress,
Yeah.
I do.
Let's play.
One of them is 15 years old.
That's right.
You just got your asses kicked, boys.
As the two women run away, groggy Commander Wolf alerts Jedi General Plo Koon that Ahsoka has escaped with the help of Asajj Ventress. It's an interesting duo.
Mhm.
Did anybody read the follow-up, the book, the
No.
Ventress book?
No.
Yeah,
I wish-
with
native.
oh
Oh
my
my gosh! Yeah, Jedi Quinlan Voss.
Quinlan Voss, yeah.
That's him,
where
yeah.
he turns to the dark side and she brings him back. They go to try to end the war, to assassinate Dooku, and
She
Quinlan
doesn't
Voss.
make it.
No, yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't make it. Yeah.
Aw.
Which is interesting because that book actually is a
canon?
it's a plot. No, it's a plot idea that was supposed to be for the 22 episode 6th season that
Sixth
didn't
season,
get developed. Yeah,
Right.
that's why it got turned into a book.
Same with the
So-
Jedi. Sorry, the Darth Maul,
The comic book.
the comic book, the Sith Apprentice comic book
That's right.
was an abandoned storyline from that.
So is it canon that she's dead?
Well,
Yes,
I would suppose it is.
Okay.
We don't actually
so.
see her die in the series,
Well,
and I don't think they make any reference to it either in the series. That she's.
I would love
she's
to see
dead.
her come back for the live action Ahsoka show.
Well, that would be an interesting. It's
I
not
think
out
that
of the
is a
realm of
canon novel.
possibility. Is
Nobody
it
dies in
post?
Star Wars.
Is the novel post Disney? I don't know. We'll have to look that one up.
Yes, yeah, it's
Well,
a
then-
young adult novel from like 2015, I believe.
Then I guess that is canon. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, as Ventress walks alone down a dark alley, she's alerted by. Oh, did I just miss an entire? I did.
Yeah.
Sorry. Reaching the abandoned warehouse, Ventress tells Ahsoka, "There it is. That's where you're supposed to find this clue." And she tells Ahsoka that she's held up her end of things and that she's on her own from here. But she also reminds Ahsoka that she now has to speak on her behalf as she hands Ahsoka her lightsaber back. Ahsoka agrees with Ventress and thanks her for getting her this far. She pauses to remark that she never imagined the two of them doing anything together. Ventress calls it strange times indeed, before walking away, leaving Ahsoka alone in front of the warehouse.
Wikipedia entry confirms it is a canon novel. Sorry,
Okay,
guys.
perfect. As Ventress walks alone down a dark alley, she's alerted by the sounds of what she thinks is someone following her. Turning to look back, she sees a shadow on the wall, and it looks like the Montrals of a Torgruta. That's Ahsoka's species, by the way. Thinking it's Ahsoka, she calls out, "I thought we decided to part ways." But as the shadow grows closer, it shrinks until a long-eared Tuca cat walks out from around the corner. First appearance of a Tuca cat alive. We saw there was a doll before.
Mhm.
There was a child's toy, but I believe this is the first episode with a actual living Tuca cat, which comes
I
back.
thought we saw one earlier in the episode that was like kind of batting a rat around.
Yeah, but this episode is
Is the
the
first.
Yeah, the first time we see one.
Fair enough.
Now the cat shrieks at Ventress before running off, but when Ventress turns back the way that she was walking, she just happens to catch a large barrel in the face.
Yeah, I don't think the cat was shrieking at her.
Gets hurt while the cat shrieks. Okay, runs away. She turns, bam!
Yeah.
Takes a barrel to the face.
Animals always know.
Falling to the street, her mask is knocked from her head. Warily, she tries to get back to her feet, but a mysterious person cloaked all in black kneels down to pick up a steel pipe and then uses it to knock Ventress unconscious before taking her lightsabers and her mask. Inside the warehouse, Ahsoka struggles, unsure of what it is she's supposed to be looking for. But her search is interrupted when the black-cloaked mystery figure attacks wearing Ventress's mask and wielding her lightsabers. As the two women square off, Ahsoka mistakenly thinks it is Asajj Ventress and that she's had a change of heart and now wants to bring her in for the bounty. It's a game of cat and mouse as the mystery attacker leads Ahsoka throughout the warehouse, using the Force to rattle loose debris and distract her. The duel rages across several levels of the warehouse as the rogue Jedi leads Ahsoka higher and higher up the warehouse. At one point, the attacker force pushes a container of volatile material at Ahsoka, which causes a pretty significant explosion. Ahsoka manages to get behind a large steel plate, but she and the plate are blown back in the blast. The explosion itself is large enough to attract the attention of the local police, who radio in that there is suspicious activity on level 1315. The message is picked up by Captain Rex and Anakin, and they turn their gunship towards the activity. As the warehouse burns, the Ventress impersonator lifts the steel plate off of Ahsoka, and Force pushes her back into a stack of crates. Ahsoka drops her lightsaber, but gets back to her feet and engages the attacker in hand-to-hand. But her assailant, at least for now, is every bit as skilled as she is in hand-to-hand combat and kicks Ahsoka off the level that they're standing on, and Ahsoka crashes through several levels before coming to rest in a storage room full of crates containing nanodroids. Ahsoka looks up through the hole where she fell. For a moment, she makes eye contact with the attacker before the attacker turns and walks away. But then Wolf and a squad of clones are there, and before Ahsoka can explain anything, Wolf stuns her. Anakin and Plo Koon arrive just in time to see Commander Wolf remove some explosives from one of the crates. Turning to Anakin, Wolf tells him that the nanodroids in the crates are the same type that were used in the temple bombing. And a downtrodden Anakin blurts out, "I can't believe it." We cut to the police. Oh, go ahead, Danny.
There was nothing random about this attack.
Oh, no.
Like, the fact that she teamed up with Ventress for a little bit presented Barriss with an unexpected opportunity.
That's right.
To dig the hole deeper.
I'm going to get away with this, and I've got a patsy.
Yeah, and I can put her in the spot I need her to be to keep the direction.
Oh, yeah, keep
faced away from me.
Absolutely. If Ventress hadn't have spoken, she might have got away with it.
Yeah.
But Anakin believed Ahsoka, so
yeah.
Well, cut to the police gunships racing across the surface of Coruscant, and on board the second ship, Anakin and Plo Koon have Ahsoka in custody. Master Plo informs Yoda that Ahsoka was found in possession of explosive nanodroids, while Anakin adds that they saw Asajj Ventress with her, and they can't explain her involvement, but he thinks that there is more going on than they know. Mace Windu asks if it's by Ahsoka or against her. And Master Plo answers, "That remains to be seen." The conversation winds down with Anakin informing Mace and Yoda that they are bringing Ahsoka back to the temple, while Mace responds, "Let's just hope we can keep her here." And I presume that means not handing her over to the military tribunal. And that closes our second episode. That's to catch.
Free Ahsoka Tano.
Free
Ahsoka Tano.
Oh man! Anybody need a break?
I could use if you can entertain the troops, I will. I could use a washroom break.
I can sit here and be as entertaining as you want me to be. I don't know if anybody else out there is going to like it, but we can do that. Take a couple seconds here.
There's at least 3 people out there you got to entertain live. So 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Let me see if I can. Over here. Stupid human tricks. There we go. It's my stupid human trick.
So
let's take that out.
Completely Star Wars unrelated.
Do tell.
Did you? Well, you know about the movie Cocaine Bear?
Yes.
There is a spoof now.
Wow.
Not so much a spoof as like a riff on it. It's called Cocaine Shark.
Oh, I think I've heard of this.
It is on Tubi.
Oh, it is.
I watched the first 10 minutes of it.
Was that all you could get through?
Oh my God, it's so bad. Like, kudos to them for the effects on like the video screens, but the creature effects
sure.
might as well be like thrown back to early Harryhausen, which I actually like.
Really
But the acting is so bad.
interesting.
I couldn't get past it. And the first shark attack is literally a little shark puppet just in the camera's face.
Oh, that's funny.
And then they'd use the you know when you drop food coloring into water,
Sure, yeah,
and it
yeah.
does that really weird smoky trail.
Yep.
That's what they used.
So it's like a movie that you and I could have made.
Pretty much, yeah. I might say we might act better though.
It's that bad.
Oh, it was hard to watch.
As I was saying to Hank before we've been live tonight, I did get a chance to take in Transformers: Rise of the Beasts on a early advanced screening.
Excellent.
I like it. I like it a lot. Plot holes galore, but hey, you don't go to a Transformer movie to for the the stellar acting. But robot on robot beat 'em ups, great. It definitely delivers on that level, and it sets up the what I would say is the
live action version of the 84 movie.
No. I would say it sets up one of the things that I think 80s kids, 80s fans of the franchise maybe have always wanted. So I want this movie to do well because I can't wait for the setup the thing that they've set up.
Excellent.
But you got to go and see it to know the thing that they set up, and then we can talk about it.
Well, they've already given it away in the trailer that Unicron is coming, right?
Unicron actually doesn't feature as much in the movie as you kind of thought he would.
Is it more of a cliffhanger type ending?
He's kind of one of the plot holes. Actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Unicron is a plot hole because he's there, then he's not, then he is, and you're like, wait a minute, how did you? The MacGuffin, the thing that they need, because they always need some kind of like transformium thing to do something.
They need Reed Richards with the ultimate nullifier.
First it was the cube and then the matrix. Okay, so they have a new thing to do. And the thing is supposed to allow Unicron to travel transdimensionally.
Okay.
So he can't come to Earth, but he can send his minions, which is weird. It's like, well, how can you send your minions if you can't come yourself? I don't know.
Big.
Yeah, sure, I get it. It's fine.
I only have enough power to send.
It's fine. Right. I can focus and I can send you little dude, but I can't bring myself without enough energon or whatever.
Yeah,
John.
Anyway, that is my random segue for Transformers: Rise of the Beast. Go see it. Support movies in the theater. Go see this movie because the setup is the thing you want to see, so we can have the other thing that they want to do, which I think is going to be great. Excellent. Over to you, Hank. Over to you, sir.
All right. How do I?
Put up? I'll flip. Let's go back. There we go. Perfect.
There he is.
You were totally in control. I'm just going to swap out our backgrounds here. There we go.
All right.
Doink. There we go.
There it is. So this is the third episode, The Wrong Jedi. Of course, Dave Filoni, written by Charles Murray. I had a note about its original air date, which was March 2nd, 2013, because I wanted to kind of hammer home the fact that this was it for Star Wars for a while.
That's right. Yeah.
This was like, this was the series finale of Clone Wars.
Series finale, yeah.
We came to the end of the record in terms of what's next for Star Wars. We all knew that Disney had just acquired this, and what are they going to do? And
we weren't really sure at this point.
Yeah.
No. I mean, we all were hoping that they would do exactly what they did with Marvel, which turns out sort of what they did, which is to make it cool and relevant, once again. So let's just jump right into it here. Our episode opener this time, we return to the central theme of Star Wars: never give up hope, no matter how dark things seem. And the episode description reads: on trial for murder, Ahsoka is expelled from the Jedi Order. In the High Council chamber, the highest-ranking Jedi in the Order gather seated around a hollow of Admiral Tarkin. The Senate is calling for an indictment of Ahsoka Tano for acts of treason against the Republic. He doesn't, so Yoda's kind of like, well, we're going to have a trial according, Jedi tradition. And Tarkin is like scoffing at that, saying, Jedi tradition, this is the problem here. Reiterating. He's really towing that internal separatist line. Like he's like the highest ranking member of the military, and he uses
the term sedition.
Yeah.
Yes.
He levels that at her, sedition. Yeah.
Well, the
It's kind
actual
of something you would
on
say
trial
about
for
a
murder is the episode description, but she's on trial for sedition, treason, murder, conspiracy. Like,
all the
she's
things that you would accuse
all the,
a
yeah,
separatist nation of doing.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right, an entire
Yeah.
an entire nation. He doesn't believe a Jedi tribunal would be viewed as impartial by the Republic, and so has put forth a motion that the Padawan be expelled from the Jedi Order and face a military tribunal. After all, clones were killed in the attack, and we all know how sympathetic Tarkin is to the cause
The
of
clones, yeah.
Loves them. So
There's favorites.
Yeah.
And-
And again,
and-
though, this says one thing here, like you got to expel her first. Why? Why would they have to expel her
I
first?
don't
She's
know.
still a commander in that military sense.
I think
right.
it has
Usually you're convicted and then stripped of all your rank and
Yeah.
accolades, right?
I think it's funny how they, in this episode too, and I don't want to get too far ahead of it, but they don't try her in the same way that they would. Like, I just didn't. The court proceeding itself is weird because it's
Yeah.
not a judge and the lawyers. It's you have a representative of the Senate acting as the lawyer, and the Supreme Chancellor is preside. That's weird.
Right. Yeah.
It's
I
weird.
do use the term kangaroo later on. In one of his only 2 lines in the entire episode, okay, he's conspicuously quiet. Like, he's the charming talker. He's the negotiator. He's the natural
Yeah.
choice to defend Ahsoka in court.
Who is
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan? Yeah, of course. Yes.
In one of his only 2 lines in the entire episode, Obi-Wan wants to know who would represent Ahsoka as her
You
defense
should.
attorney. Almost like, okay, well, I'll do it. It's almost,
Yeah.
And then Tarkin slimily states that it's up to the Jedi, but recommends it should be someone from outside the Order.
Outside of, yeah.
Windu, speaking for the entire council suddenly, tells Tarkin that they will act in the interest of the council. Once he is alone with the other Jedi after the Hollow ends, he says, I have no choice but to follow Tarkin's suggestions, worried more about public opinion than apparent justice or fairness.
Yeah.
So we see how far the Jedi have fallen, influenced by corrupt military and politicians, fooled by their own blind faith. You can see the hubris start to take over the Jedi at the top of the council.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hank, I don't want to stop you there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you know, at least on our end, we're getting some of that weird feedback that we got last week. That
Scratchy records.
Yeah, it's kind of a popcorn static every time you speak. So I'm not sure if there's a connection there or something.
I will investigate. I have turned off all the lights that were connected to this
Something
powered hub.
Unless he's been a droid this whole time.
Is it still popping and cracking?
Yeah, every time you speak.
Wow.
Yeah, it's almost I don't want to say incomprehensible, but it's on the verge of like
Droid speak.
Yeah, it's creeping up. It's getting more and more every time you speak, which is bizarre.
Back in 30 seconds.
Sure. Okay. We'll hold the fort for you. Yeah, it's interesting, Obi-Wan, the great negotiator.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly did not get a chance to put those skills into play. It's so bizarre that they don't have you would have thought it'd have been a judge, like
like an impartial.
He says, what does Tarkin say? A Republic military tribunal.
Yeah.
He was the only member of the military there. Do you know what I mean? Like, it should have been like a judge advocate general and some like Ajax representing the military versus the defendant.
And on top of that, all evidence. Where is the evidence?
Where is the evidence? Yeah. Funny we don't get to see that in the trial.
Yeah.
But we do get the other thing. So
yeah,
that kind of trumps the evidence. Oh, speaking of Trump, might be going to prison.
Yeah. But did you see he's on the rise? His polling numbers are going up.
Of course.
I'm going to bring it up tomorrow night. I just finished a documentary watching it with my wife. It's called Shiny Happy People.
Oh, interesting.
And it's basically the secrets behind the Duggar family.
Somebody else brought that up the other day.
It goes way, way deeper than just the Duggars.
It was like one of the kids participated in the documentary, right?
Yeah, one of them is in there, telling all, and it's pretty messed up.
Any better?
That is.
You are crystal clear.
Okay, so I just took myself out of my powered USB hub and put
Yep.
myself into a regular old USB hub. And
I don't know what
this
the
is
issue is.
I'm sure that my computer can run this mic because it's just opened the box a couple months ago. So,
Oh, sure.
but that's the only thing I can think of.
Is it a USB microphone?
It is a USB microphone.
Oh, so you don't even need to run it through your interface. You can just go right into your computer.
No, I have it's all lightning and stupid. It's all stupid.
Gotcha.
I need a hub to plug USBs in.
Gotcha.
But I just eliminated the USB, the powered hub. So hopefully.
Okay. I hope that
the last time I eliminated elements that were plugged into with some forward colored lighting I had. So
sure.
Enough of the technical stuff.
Okay. Well, let's get back on track.
Where are we here?
We were just making fun of the Republic Military Tribunal that only had one military member at it.
Yeah. We're still at the High Council chamber.
Sorry, we're actually at the High Council chamber. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And Tarkin has just
Where's
gone
all
off
the regional governors?
Yeah.
In a starkly lit waiting area, Anakin paces back and forth as Ahsoka sits quietly surrounded by Jedi temple guards. She tells her master, "You're not helping," but he's at a loss for options, feeling helpless. She tries to calm him down, but they're summoned by a low, ominous bell tone and a dais which raises into the chamber of judgment above. So it's called the Chamber of Judgment.
Yeah.
What it refers to it.
This is the part I was saying I got the Undiscovered Country vibes when they put Kirk on trial. It's the same lighting, the same
or Superman 1 where Jor-El is talking to the council there.
It's very much
floating heads. And it's it's a dour chamber, dark and lit for mood. Ahsoka is elevated alone before the council, who all sit in seats high above her, looking down. Yoda speaks the charges and asks how the young Padawan pleads. His voice is an ominous echo in the tall, round chamber. I find it funny that the Jedi Tribunal would use such dramatic and imposing tactics.
Yeah, it is pretty doom and gloom.
It's like a Sith kind of thing, it's I guess maybe they just lop your head off, but this seems so dour and it's for their own. This is this is an internal.
We're not trying somebody who's done something against us. We're trying.
This is tradition. This is how they do this. Like this room has been used for 10,000 generations, kind of action. In turn, several Jedi present the evidence of her guilt, the nanodroids siding with Ventress. Windu points out that the Jedi have been deceived from within before, suggesting that this may be yet another separatist plot. The council sadly already knows how it will rule, and sensing this, Anakin breaks silence, shouting, "You've already made your decision, haven't you? This meeting is just a formality." The council, needing to save face in the eyes of the corrupt Senate rule, tell Padawan Tano has committed sedition against the Republic, and they expel Ahsoka from the order and turn her over for a Republic military trial.
I think there's some interesting things is that we should talk about this, because as I'm thinking about this trial, there's a line in one of the prequel films, and it's like when we talk about the Jedi don't serve the military; they serve the Senate.
That's right.
That's the Senate dispatched Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan in that first diplomatic mission. So
the Chancellor, right?
Yeah. Valorum did that. This whole is that why they had to expel her, so that she could face trial by a civilian court, because they are bound by the Senate?
I don't know.
It's not even a civilian court; it's a military court.
It's a military tribunal,
which isn't very militant when we get there, but then is represented by a senator. Yeah. So again, it's just bizarre.
Well, yeah, because you've got all the Jedi have been ordained their military rankings.
That's when they give their judgment, their Senate members are on the jury, presumably. They show Senate members up in one of the booths,
like in the gallery or something.
Yeah,
and he's like, "We have our there's a jury there." This is a crazy court sort of. I know they're trying to capture it because it's cut back and forth. I kind of group the what's happening, because I know there is some cutting back and forth for pacing from the cartoon.
Yep.
The council, needing to save face in the eyes of the corrupt Senate, rule Padawan Tano has committed sedition against the Republic and expels her from the order. Anakin, incensed, screams, "You can't do this," prompting temple guards to ignite lightsabers to block him. He can only look on in horror as a temple guard approaches his apprentice from behind and in a tight fist rips her Padawan braid from her head. That's such a graphic image.
It's like ripping the rank off the guy who's been
Yeah.
stripped of his.
And, most Padawans, that would have been their hair. She's got a
That's right.
piece of, sort of an adornment there. But
Like a
most
piece of
Padawans, that
jewelry.
would be hair, not even cut off. Just
Yeah.
I guess cutting it off is symbolic of the next rank. But
We've seen that before, and I know it was in the 2-dimensional, the Tartakovsky Clone Wars. There was a ceremonial thing when the Padawans graduated to Knight. They had their braids cut off with a lightsaber.
Yeah, Yoda cut it. That's right.
Yeah.
Alone in an Republic holding cell,
Nice.
Ahsoka sits head down, dejected. Anakin enters, and the Padawan allows herself the briefest of smiles. She's still like. It amazes me that she is able to go through this all and still like those things. Let's see here. Where was I? Sorry, guys. Anakin enters. Okay. She allows herself the briefest of smiles. He's with Padme, and she's to be Ahsoka's counsel, promising that she will do everything she can to prove her innocence. Ahsoka is adamant that the real culprit must be Ventress. So now Anakin, finally with a purpose, will find Ventress and get these answers. In the bowels of Coruscant, Anakin tracks down Ventress, looming behind her, robes fully drawn, looking just a little bit too much like his future self in that shot.
Yeah, a little bit.
Vader looking right there.
Yeah.
They fight briefly as she leaps across catwalks and he gives chase. On a good day, she's no match for Anakin Skywalker, let alone without her lightsabers and while he's borderline enraged.
I was actually thinking she was doing okay for just a pair of pipes.
Yeah,
for a few seconds anyway.
It was like cat and mouse. He was just like, when he finally was just like lost his patience.
Yeah. Well, when he makes a point,
he chokes her with the Force, drawing her close and putting his lightsaber to her throat.
Yeah.
She contends that it wasn't her. She thought she could actually cash in on a bounty on the young Jedi, only changing her mind upon realizing that both she and Ahsoka were the same and that they'd been abandoned by their masters. And this hits Anakin really hard in the gut because he knows that that's what the Jedi have done. They've abandoned Ahsoka. Ventress says she has a lead for him, however, a name. The last person Ahsoka talked to before the warehouse, someone named Barriss.
I like how he says to her, we get a glimpse of Anakin, some foreshadowing, and he's like, "If you're lying to me,
I'll kill you.
You're dead."
Yeah, you're dead. Yeah.
And then she says something like, "Oh, such promises" or something.
That's right.
As he takes off. Yeah.
There's one other line too. Like she's like, nobody can sneak. Like it takes a certain level.
To sneak up behind her.
On her.
Yeah.
Because she senses
that's true.
She's like, "Hey, Skywalker, what's up?"
That's right. Well, he wasn't,
because she knows it's him.
Yeah.
He wasn't sneaking though.
No.
Down there, he's cutting like that imposing sort of.
Yeah, that's right.
Back at the Republic military headquarters, Ahsoka heads to the courtroom, now flanked by the crimson and white clad Coruscant guard clones. Again, poor Ahsoka is dwarfed by her surroundings as the room seems built in a sheer attempt to impose fear upon the prosecuted. It's a whole nother level of this architecture to strike fear in the person that's being tried here.
It's like the inverse of the Senate, right? You get your pod and like you're shuffled out to the middle.
And it's funny, you got all of the players there, Masameda with the staff to sort of like, okay, the court is now in session.
Yeah. What is the sentence? Being cast into a pit because she's just no railings, floating above a large opening in the floor. Why don't they have floors in Star Wars?
Oh, that's awesome.
There are railings though for Tarkin and Padme.
Really.
She has to leave the railings to go down the. The young Padawan gives an optimistic look over her shoulder as Padme enters as her defense attorney. She had shared before that in the light of being abandoned by the entire order except Anakin, she held little hope of better treatment from the Senate. Unsurprisingly, Tarkin is the voice of the prosecution, and you have to wonder what his credentials are in terms of being a prosecuting attorney.
I'm a career Navy man.
Right.
If it was our military, he would have to, at his level as an admiral, he would have had to have completed what's called there's a course that all senior officers have to go through, especially if they're commanding officers, because they actually have to be able to, in the cases of summary trial for like lower level crimes within the military, a commanding officer would preside over that. So we'd have to have there's a commanding officer's course for summary trials. So he would have some training, but he would probably still have to be. He would still have like access to a JAG or a military lawyer, but he seems to want to go it alone.
He seems to want to go it absolutely alone. He leads, intending to prove that Ahsoka was the mastermind behind the temple bombings and that she eliminated her co-conspirators and that he will seek the death penalty. Ahsoka is awestruck with the full weight of the situation coming to bear. That's a heavy deal. Like,
that's heavy.
She was in trouble before, but it's and it's very heavy. And she's still, that's the second time in this episode she gives a smile to one of her friends. She's an awesome character. This, I mean, Windu's not wrong what he says at the end. He goes about it wrong. But
where
are we here? Slide 6. At the Jedi Temple, Anakin finds Padawan Barriss Offee meditating in her quarters. He immediately uses the Force to bring her lightsaber into his hands, examine it idly while questioning her. He tells her that he's heard that she spoke with Ahsoka before her arrest, and he needs to know what they talked about and if she told anyone else. She explains that they're friends, and she thought she might have a clue for her. Barriss asks who told Anakin and that she spoke to Ahsoka, and the Jedi Knight reveals it was Ventress. But the Padawan responds, "Isn't Ventress the one Ahsoka is implicating?" So I have a question. Since that comes out in the trial or in the
jail cell,
and it comes out in the sort of the meeting with the rest of the Jedi before she's taken to the. How does Barriss know this? Like, we know how she knows it, but
I think that's like she just tipped her card.
Right. I think she just dropped the ball there. It's very subtle. Because that's and then unless that court case is being broadcast, and that's my other question. Do we think a trial of this nature would be broadcast to the Republic?
No, because if we're to go on as it's written that it's supposed to be a military trial, it would be closed door to people that need to be there. Yeah.
Right.
So and if it goes wrong, like not in the military's favor, they don't want that like out there, like, shit, we screwed up.
This is all about public opinion, right?
Another one of those. Then why does she have a senator for a lawyer?
It's wacky stuff.
Yeah, it's wacky.
Skywalker doesn't think it's Ventress though, or Ahsoka, and he says, there's only one way to prove this. And he ignites her saber and swings it at her. But sensing the jig was up, she's already summoned Ventress's twin red blades from their hiding spot, and she blocks the test. The fight moves into the hallways of the Jedi Temple, and surprisingly, the young Padawan holds her own for a time, perhaps bolstered by the growing dark side of the Force hold upon her. And this is where I want to kind of talk about that. Do we think that she's accessing, like she says, I think they suit me.
I don't see why she wouldn't be tapping into the dark side. No. We've seen Anakin do
absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. If somebody is whispering in her ear,
and
trust your feelings.
Yeah, we might never know that answer, but I feel like she's way in over her head to be. She's as much. I mean, she actually did some of the things here. Like she was, But in terms of being the mastermind behind the plot, I think she's as much a victim as Ahsoka is.
Yeah.
Only that she was able to be, I guess, turned, for lack of a better term. Right?
I mean, she's radicalized.
Yeah, exactly.
The right word for that.
The altercation attracts the attention of temple guards who now surround the two combatants, cutting Offie off from any linear escape. And as Anakin ignites his own saber to dual wield to match her, like she knows she's in trouble, she pushes him with the Force and she leaps through a window, knowing she's outmatched and must flee.
I was thinking about the temple guards at the moment. At this moment, when they what's the line they use? Cease hostilities.
Yeah.
yeah.
Not stop. Not like Master Skywalker. What's going on here?
Right.
Just cease hostilities.
I always figured like they were like stoic, like British.
I'd have subdued both of them and then sorted out later.
Yeah.
What in the next scene? It's kind of amazing that the Padawans don't jump in and try
or Terrace Anube or everybody else.
Or maybe it's a training session. That's kind of how they view it.
It's funny that the temple guards just kind of stand back and okay, we'll let this play out.
Yeah.
Well, they're out of the temple.
Seem to just they live to ignite their sabers. They do it a lot. Like,
we're just here to look good.
Like Force pikes. That's wicked. Cutting off Offie from a linear escape, she leaps through a window. The fight cascades outdoors, eventually bringing the warriors amid a group of younglings training with sabers being taught by Terrace Anube, white lightsaber. Imagine being one of those kids in that moment. Oh, yeah. I always like to pretend like that like have a point of view from in world, and imagine you're like and it's instrumental. Those characters remind us of like Ahsoka's ground. Like she has several arcs with those characters.
I mean, those are the kids. I mean, Gunji's there. It's the same kids that she went to Ilum with.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Barriss fights valiantly.
Is it terrible foreshadowing that Anakin Skywalker is coming flying towards them with lightsabers?
There is that as well.
There is that. We know Gunji survives. Barriss fights valiantly, but as Skywalker tosses around with the Force, he gets the best of her, just as it appears his anger is getting the best of him. Back in the
throws
courtroom,
her against the tree, though, right?
He does.
That Jedi tree.
But he's doing that, like hammering down on her lightsaber. Like,
it was very much Luke going at Vader's hand on the second Death Star.
Yeah, he's certainly going
losing control a little bit.
Right. And I don't, I postulate that he never ever fully gets it back. I think this is seriously instrumental in his fall.
It's his tipping point as much as it's hers.
Yeah.
Back in the courtroom, the Grand Vizier clangs his staff and calls for the verdict, which is promptly delivered to the Supreme Chancellor himself. He begins reading it, but suddenly, in the nick of time, like always, Anakin Skywalker is here to save the day.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, and it like countless times throughout, when the stakes weren't nearly so big.
Yeah.
He's pulled it, and you got to wonder if that's part of her faith, is less in the way the Force is working, although that probably enters into it, but like it's got to be about her faith in him.
Oh yeah.
Like,
she believes in him.
And that's what makes the end so tragic, because they do believe in each other. They do trust each other, and they, back in the courtroom, clangs his staff. Anakin Skywalker is here. It saves the day. He's brought evidence and a confession from the mastermind herself. Flanked by 4 temple guards, the real bomber of the Jedi Temple stands in binders, head hung low, Ahsoka Tano's dear friend, Barriss Offee. But Ahsoka can scarcely believe her friend would try to implicate her. Barriss, is this true? Sternly, Skywalker demands, tell the truth. Barriss steps forward to the walkway and starts. And I left almost all of her dialogue, because I think it's really important.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I did it because I've come to realize what many of the people of the Republic have come to realize, that the Jedi are the ones responsible for this war, that we have lost our way, that we have so lost our way that we've become the villains in this conflict, and that we are the ones who should be put on trial, all of us. And my attack on the temple was an attack on what the Jedi have become, an army fighting for the dark side, fallen from the light that we once held so dear. This republic is failing. It's only a matter of time. She's completely,
the fact that she's right.
She's right is the crazy track. Like, and Ahsoka puts her head down. Yeah. There's a shot of Obi-Wan. I didn't get a screen cap of it. There's a shot of Obi-Wan during her speech, and he knows she's right. He looks away.
this is what I was saying earlier tonight. I was alluding to that at one point they're the opposite sides of one coin, and now it's almost like, oh, now they're the same side of the same coin.
Just less murdering.
Yeah.
The shot of Obi-Wan during her speech shows us he knows that in some way she's not wrong, and it's why he's remained so quiet among the hypocrisy of this kangaroo court. Ahsoka is crushed at the betrayal. She knows the truth, and she knows the truth too, and she has been a vivid of that truth. Weird. I have no idea what I was saying there.
Victim of that truth.
Victim. That seems right.
Done, sir. A victim of that truth this whole arc, and I'm reminded of her friendship with Barriss, especially in the season 2 episode where the 2 Padawans were trapped beneath the collapsed Separatist factory, and Ahsoka taught Barriss the lesson of never giving up hope. The hope that is now but all gone as Anakin gives his apprentice a humble grin. She bows her head, averting his gaze, her heart broken, her faith shattered.
Yeah.
Because that seed 4 episodes ago, and that blind, no, there's no way a Jedi could do it.
Right.
And here's your Jedi confessing to it.
And your best friend. Yeah. But your family has failed you. Your friends have failed you. The
institution has failed
you. It's unbelievable. Little Ahsoka.
Can we go back 1 second? I just want is just an aside thing, because this is one of those cool things. If you didn't know, this is the first episode where Supreme Chancellor Palpatine is played by Tim Curry.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Which he would play throughout season the Lost Missions.
The Lost Missions. He got better at it. There's a few of his lines in this that were like,
but yeah, if you're
Tano.
If you're wondering why the Chancellor sounds different, yeah, it's Frankenfurter himself. It's Tim Curry.
It totally is. It totally is.
Franken Chancellor.
Franken
Chancellorfurter.
Chancellorize.
The Supreme Chancellorfurter.
Awesome. I hate this scene. I really don't like the scene at all. Afterward, in the council chamber, surrounded by several council members, who's fighting the war? Well, this is happening. Who's fighting the war?
Yeah, really. Obi-Wan's there now. He's not by Hollow anymore.
No.
Right? They're all
trial's over. You can come now.
He's been there the whole time. He was at the first meeting too.
Oh, right. But when they were talking about who's going to represent her,
right? Yeah. Who's fighting the war? Ahsoka and Skywalker face the embarrassed, humbled members, paragons of the Jedi Order. Anakin speaks first. Ahsoka, I'm so sorry about everything. Followed by Plo Koon. You have our most humble apologies, little Ahsoka. The council was wrong to accuse you. He almost belittles her.
I'll take it for everybody here.
Right? Yeah. And then sassy teens, where have you been the whole series?
Yeah, really, eh? Did you? I don't remember having a line ever.
No.
Other than
That's right. You've shown such great strength and resilience. Your struggle to prove your innocence. And Ki-Adi-Mundi adds, "This is the true sign of a Jedi Knight." And Mace Windu, who I would force choke if I could.
Yeah, he's a jerk in this one, straight up.
This is how smarmy this is. This is actually your great trial. Now we see that. We understand that the Force works in mysterious ways, sounding like a blanket statement from a zealous country minister.
What?
And because of this trial, you would become a greater Jedi than you would ever have, otherwise. I feel like screaming at Windu. Thank you so much for the opportunity to grow.
Really, eh?
Yoda doesn't apologize
at all. He doesn't say anything. Yeah,
states flatly, "Back into the Order you may come."
Yeah,
Obi-Wan is silent the whole time.
We're just going to go back to the way things were, and everything will be fine.
And part of the problem here is that how many Jedi like Obi-Wan have to go like this?
Yeah, I mean,
well, it goes back to that line earlier when they were doing their Jedi Order tradition thing.
Oh, right, at their trial.
And even Yoda says, not all of us are in agreement, but this is what we're doing.
Yeah, you get the picture that not all of us was Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan is not on board for this.
What's really, if that's true, it really, I lose a lot of respect for Plo Koon, who is Ahsoka's essentially oldest friend within the Order.
Right.
Yeah. That they were all on board with that. Like Yoda and May say something and everybody kind of goes,
and that's the tragedy. Like, whether you blame the dark side or whether you blame, I mean, that's what we're supposed to do, is blame the dark side clouding their judgment. But at some point, there's this level of arrogance on top of it, like
and I mean,
righteousness that you don't really get when you're a kid. You know, it's space wizards and laser swords, but they really were.
It really punctuates the events of Revenge of the Sith when it's like Palpatine is the Sith Lord.
He's the guy pulling.
Yeah, when they all kind of go, "Oh, damn!" Like, dude,
right.
Like,
and he's able to exploit, like, the way they describe it in Lucas's novel. It gets corrupt from within, and they're talking about the Jedi Order as well.
Yeah.
You know, slide 11. This is heartbreaking. Anakin steps close to her. "We're asking you back, Ahsoka." He holds out her Padawan braid in his hand. "I'm asking you back." She stares at him for a long minute. She takes his hand gently, and both of hers looking deep into her master's eyes. Her brother, her teacher, her father, her friend, and she closes his hand on the braid, rejecting the offer. That's heavy, man.
Yeah. The music really plays on this scene because there's and I don't know the musical terminology to explain what's happening, but there's a heightening to the music.
There's
where
like a hopeful pause.
There's
before the hammer drops.
I don't want to call it a warble, but tonally it shifts between will she, won't she, will she, won't she.
Yeah.
That just really helps build the tension in this moment, and then emotional dump.
I kind of chose these 3 images too for anyone that was like, this animation is no good.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's good.
Because, like, look at the emotion in those characters.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
There's Obi-Wan off in the background. It's like he's just sort of staring into infinity, like, what just happened?
She looks at him sorrowful for a long moment. Anakin realizes the sad truth. "I'm sorry, Master, but I'm not coming back." And with that, Ahsoka leaves the council room, and Anakin hangs his head in deep regret.
Yeah.
And as Ahsoka walks out, we see how the temple walls above her tower above her, and she is dwarfed by the immensity of everything again. Anakin chases after her, and for a moment, Obi-Wan goes to chase after Anakin, and Plo Koon puts his hand on his shoulder, like, "No, let him go." Thing.
Yeah.
And Yoda's like, I think part of Yoda, like, how we get Ahsoka to be Anakin's charge, is because I think he's sensed that future and is trying to stem that tide by giving him something, but it almost backfires because of his attachment problem.
Yeah.
Anakin chases after Ahsoka. "Wait, I need to talk to you." He asks, "Why are you doing this?" She tells him the council didn't trust her. How can she trust herself? See, that's like
the self-doubt thing kind of got me on that.
Right? Yeah, when your parents do something stupid and you go like, "Is it me?"
Yeah.
It must be me because my parents can't be, like,
yeah.
It's the self-doubt is huge here. And just the shaky ground and the not knowing what your future holds when every day is a guaranteed sort of future. Like, it's everything is taken care of for them. They just go with the will of the Force. Sure, they're fighting a war, but like, so much uncertainty. Anakin begs, "What about me?" I mean, even now he's still narcissistic, right? What about me?
What about me?
And there's something I think I didn't realize. Like, I had shouted at the screen, "What about me?" He believed in her and he stood by her. He says she knows that he believed in her and she's grateful, but this isn't about you. And that's
that's cool.
If anybody's ever said that to you, like, when they mean it, it really, you got to pause and go,
You're
wait a minute.
What? Oh, yeah.
And it's crazy for, like, I just told Darth Vader it wasn't about it.
And lived to tell about it.
She can't stay in light of what's happened. Anakin tells her that the order is her life. She's making a mistake, but she's adamant that she has to sort this out on her own without the council and without him. He says, "I understand more than you know," wanting to walk away from the order. And she tells him she knows. And there's this look of realization on Anakin's face where he knows that Ahsoka knows about Padme.
The look on his face when he talks about he says a little bit more to that. He says about walking away from the order. I, above anybody else, understand what it's like to want to walk away from the order. And
Right.
she just says,
I
I know.
know.
It's the Han
Very
and Leia
Han
thing.
Solo. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, superficially it's that.
But
then
it's what she knows.
yeah, and I go right into that whole thing, like, you know, when Obi-Wan goes to Padme and he just kind of says, Anakin's the father, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, like, and we get a follow-up moment to that in was it in season 7 where Anakin give me your kit inspection and goes inside the thing to have a private call.
Right.
You know, Obi-Wan knows, and he's just
Right.
kept his mouth shut because Anakin he's gotten complacent. He's done things like that. I'm taking these private calls, and people know what he's doing because you can only keep so many secrets in the middle of a war. Does Ahsoka know intuitively because of those types of things, or has he confided in her that he's like, as a woman, does she just see the way that Padme looks at him, like,
or the way he looks at her?
I find this whole, like,
I don't think she's confided in him because there's a look on his face like where he's, I haven't been as careful as I thought.
Is that what we're calling that?
I would think so.
Because I just find this whole, like, the whole I know bit and how she knows and the depth and the degree to what she knows, I find that fascinating.
It's fascinating. And I find I'm watching this and I'm doing my notes and stuff, and I say out loud, go with her. Like, I know he's been Darth Vader since I was 5 years old, and I'm like screaming at a cartoon, retcon this, go with her. Imagine that story.
Yeah. There's a lot of fan art out there that would suggest that people are with you on that too.
Yeah.
The shipping of Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano.
Well, I mean, not even like that. I mean, go grab Padme. Let's just
seriously, let's all go off and just be
right
rebels.
Yeah, really, eh?
But yeah, like, you figure the way she operates, right? Like, she takes in everything around her.
Yeah.
So, like, she's always learning, and it would make sense that she's taking literally everything around her.
Yeah.
So anytime he interacts with Padme,
you know, we talked earlier about this. Would this type of thing be broadcast around the Republic? Can you imagine if the Jedi Order, the 10,000 Jedi Knights that exist at this time, if they were privy to what just happened? Can you imagine if a sizable portion of those suddenly flipped over to the Separatist side?
Said we're fighting the wrong side.
Do you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine what that would look like? Sorry, I know that's not about Ahsoka, but like, oops, sorry about that.
Yeah. As Ahsoka walks forward towards an uncertain future, and Anakin gazes forlorn after her, they both break in that moment. Ahsoka will put herself back together and become Ahsoka the White. Anakin will not, and will succumb to the dark side and become the evil Sith Lord Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka Nano. That's funny that it would twist her name to that. Ahsoka Tano walks down the steps and out of view. Cut to black. Now I'm crazy. But there's a thing here that struck me watching it the last time, and it actually got me a little bit teary-eyed.
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to be right now.
Okay.
Walking down those steps, I had said, oh my God, that's the last time she sees Anakin. Lauren reminded, she's like, nope, he gives her lightsabers back. Season 7.
That's right.
But it mirrors the Twilight of the Apprentice episode. And for 2 years, we thought that Ahsoka Tano died at the hands of Darth Vader.
That's right.
Her walking down those stairs was a metaphor of her going into the afterworld. And it just hit me that Filoni may have known what he was doing
that far back.
Wow.
Yeah, that's something else, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah. And if he didn't, I mean, again, like, if I had even a shred of that ability to write, to write something like that, I do tip my hat at that, because that there's a lot of brain power required to, in 2013 to predict, extrapolate what's happened in those years.
and you could see what this does to Anakin Skywalker. Like I've been saying that the whole review series, that eventually and by season 5, we're at the end of what they thought the Clone Wars was going to actually be when Disney canceled it.
Well,
and at this time, Ahsoka Tano is the main character of that show. She walks out of frame.
Is,
we follow her out of frame. We leave Anakin behind. But this is that moment. I think that this is the straw, because he's still happy-go-lucky when we see him in Revenge of the Sith, but he's not so much in that season 7 arc.
No,
you know, he's changed. Like he wants her back, and she's like cold and aloof with him. Like,
I've been out here now for an undisclosed amount of time, doing it on my own, and things are fine out here, and I'll just do it my way.
Yeah,
that's right.
Which is interesting, because her way isn't necessarily the wrong way. It's a different way. And it brings up, we talked about it before, that whole, gray Jedi thing, which I am now becoming a lot more softened to the idea of that she is maybe the template of how the Order needs to evolve. Yeah, exactly.
She's much more in common with Qui-Gon Jinn than almost any other Jedi.
Yeah. Isn't that something? That takes us to the end of this arc, which, Andy, you said at the beginning, this is the one that arguably is the most impactful.
Yeah.
Other than her, I would say her upcoming death would maybe rival that. But in terms of her character development, this is the highest it's ever been that we've seen this character up till now, at least chronologically speaking.
Yeah.
That means, sorry, Hank, go ahead.
Well, there's an episode in the Mortis arc that I can't believe isn't in here, because I think too many people that's not in the episode
on the list.
On the list. And I think a lot of people glance over that. But Anakin kills her in that episode.
Yeah.
She's possessed by the dark side of the Force, by the brother.
Right.
Anakin slays her.
Yep.
And the sister brings her back to life with her essence. This ethereal light side of the being of the Force puts herself inside Ahsoka. And I think
is that Resurrection 1 or 2?
That's Resurrection 1.
That's 1.
Yeah, Lauren and I have Lauren's like sort of like the Marvel time travel thing. She's like, Ezra always plucks her out of the timeline. And I'm like, no, there's a first time that he plucks her out of that timeline. Sure, every time after that, yes, I agree. But it's he plucks her out of that, and I stand firm that she did not survive that battle with Darth Vader.
That first encounter, when we see the door close.
That's right.
Yeah, that one. Okay, interesting. But they left. That's such a great. We're gonna. Did we go through that again? Yeah. So we are gonna go through that again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were left for a long time going like, did she? Didn't she? Like,
2
did
seasons.
She survive? Yeah, exactly. And it was so like, oh. They can't all be that way, though, and that brings us to what we get to look forward to next on Road to Ahsoka. We are going to be going into the Martez sisters arc, and this is interesting because we had a conversation in our private chat, as we do between shows as we're developing and writing the shows, our episodes. And Hank, you had said maybe we skip over the Martez episodes, and I had said, I don't think we should.
Yeah.
And I propose the reason that they are on the list is that the Martez sisters connect her directly to her involvement with what will become the Rebel Alliance. It's part of her journey towards Fulcrum.
It's also a really good look of what the average Republic citizen feels about politics, the Jedi, the world like the galaxy in general.
Sure.
Because, this episode or this last arc is where we first get with Letta, we first see a Republic citizen with a separatist opinion.
Yeah.
Right. We don't, like there is sedition inside your own ranks, if you will.
Right.
On a more subtle level, we're all allowed to question government.
We also get to go back to the underworld. We get to go back to 1313. I think it's actually 1313 we get to go to on this one.
And there's a speeder crash. There's a speeder crash that is some of the most dynamic animation in all of of the Clone
Yeah.
Wars.
Now that's a 4-episode arc, which is,
It is.
it's one of the longest arcs in the Clone Wars, the 4-episode arc. But I guess that was kind of the
That was kinda
standard
standard,
towards getting to the.
Because the following one is the Order 66 arc.
Yeah, it's the wow. I don't know how else to say it. Yeah, Order 66, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
do
that's
we have
going to be
time
the
do
next
2 and
couple.
2, or are we going to be doing all 4?
I think the way we should do it is we should just do the Martez sisters all at once.
Yeah.
And then I think I broke it down in our group chat how
Cool.
the arcs group.
Yeah.
But it just so happens to work out that even by grouping the arcs, this goes back to what I said earlier about how I errantly broke them up into even numbers. Even by rejigging them and gluing all the arcs together, we do get a few single episodes, which still means they are spaced appropriately, that we have enough, especially knowing that the release date for Ahsoka has now been pushed up. We do have enough time that we will be still able to cover everything.
Nice.
And it'll dovetail right into Ahsoka Tano.
Sweet.
But yeah, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up for tonight?
That was a good one.
I'm banking that this particular arc
Yeah,
is going to factor into the live action.
you want to theorize on that while we're here?
Yeah.
So we've talked about that before, and I agree with Andy. I agree with you, especially knowing that this show is set in the Mandoverse, and they already made a point to show us very clearly Grogu standing in front of her chambers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All things being intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing out of place here. He's
Let's
got his
face it.
long game plan, and
Barriss Offee is the perfect
Is the Inquisitor.
ground level villain for Ahsoka Tano.
yeah.
I mean,
And I
they
think-
have a history. The Ahsoka's gonna want to save her. There's so much there. The
Given
betrayal, like
Anakin's fall, it's not hard to see him. Maybe Barriss Offee is the first Inquisitor, not necessarily the Grand Inquisitor,
yeah,
but after being present at the trial, hearing her "this is the way it is" speech, and then Anakin's fall when he marches on the temple. It's not hard
Right.
to think of him opening the door. You're with me, or you're dead.
Yeah.
and
You know what I mean?
we get the impression that Grogu's standing in front of her chamber, and we had this discussion when we were reviewing that episode. Like, she's probably in a military tribunal holding cell.
somewhere. Yeah,
Like, she's not in a, you know what I mean? So
that they
I
wouldn't
don't
allow the Jedi to hold her.
I don't think she is, based on what we've just seen. And
You
what
don't
we
think
can
she's in a
theorize.
prison somewhere?
No. I think if it is indeed Palpatine whispering in her ear too,
Oh, they've already
he's pulling-
removed her.
yeah,
Well-
she's off receiving more training, more whatever,
Sure.
indoctrination from him.
that's the other question. I know we're running long now, but where is Illuminari in all of this?
Oh, Luminara Unduli. That's a
Where is
great
she in all
question.
of it?
Where's her?
To let her
master?
Padawan run around and orchestrate this. Where is she in all this? And then I have one final postulate. The next time we see her, and I put this in the chat, she doesn't have a canon death.
Who's that? Luminara?
She doesn't have a canon death.
Interesting.
I looked it up. I couldn't find it, and then I looked it up and I couldn't find that. But she is presumed dead, Order 66. The next time we see her is Rebels.
Yep.
Where the Empire,
And she's a body.
and she's being used to lure Jedi to their death by the Inquisitors. Maybe Palpatine
Interesting.
already has her.
I've
at this
got your
point.
master.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it plays out like he's still moving those chess pieces where he needs them to be, and getting rid of
She's
Ahsoka
nowhere to be seen.
is just
She's-
putting Anakin where he needs him to be.
She's a
find
council member, no?
Luminara Unduli? I
Mhm.
don't believe she was.
No?
I have to double check on that. I off the top of my head, she may have been at one time, but there's a membership change between movies.
Yeah.
Where there's like Oppo Rancisis appears in one movie, doesn't appear in another. He's
Mhm.
the snake looking guy.
yeah.
That you don't really see. He's sort of off to the side.
He's in the comics and some of the
Same
the
with like
background.
Yariel Poof. He's like a really long necked guy. You could mistake
Mhm.
him for a Kaminoan, but he's not.
No, yeah.
You see him in one movie, you don't see him again.
He was in Las Vegas last week.
Yariel Poof.
Behind the tractor.
That's right. It's an interesting thought, though, that Palpatine's already gotten to her.
I just
Maybe we
that's a-
will get that.
chess piece missing from the equation.
Maybe we will get that in the live action series.
Yeah.
I strongly, I've had some strong feelings about live action Star Wars before, and they have proven to be wrong. But I strongly agree with you that she may in fact be that Inquisitor that we have seen in the marketing. Again, I ask, is that a flashback or is that
A current event.
A current event? Yeah, exactly.
Well, given their propensity to take us back to the world between worlds, there's no limits on those possibilities.
That's totally another one too.
Timeline. It
the
could
Inquisitor
be
coming
many,
forward.
many things.
Yeah.
Sure. Another branch. Wow. We got lots more time to think about this and a lot more time to talk about it, as we still have quite a few more episodes to get through to take us up to August
23rd.
23rd. Thank you very much. My brain is awful when it comes to remembering this stuff. But we will be here covering everything along the way. And of course, you can come back and hang out with us tomorrow night as we get together and we get to talk about some of the other entertainment news that's creeped up over the last week. I know we've got a small list of articles that we've been compiling over the last 6 days.
Not near as much toy news this time.
No, not as much toy news, but still some fun things that we're going to talk about tomorrow. Come back tomorrow if you want to talk about trading cards, because we got a cool one about trading cards.
Yeah, not just like sports cards.
Yeah, exactly. So, any more before we get going?
No,
That's good for me.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, man.
All right, well, I'm glad that I hope you guys had a great time. I know that as much as we had a great time bringing all of this to you, do come back and hang out with us tomorrow. Do check out all of the stuff over here in the corner. You can check out our all of our social media as we are fairly active there. Do consider becoming a subscriber to the channel if you are not already. You can find us on all of the audio platforms out there, wherever you get your podcasts from. And until the next time we meet, which is going to be tomorrow night for Fandom Power, my name is Wes.
I'm Andy.
I'm Hank.
And we'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now, everybody.